Welcome into Mailbag Monday on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Law's here too.
Hello.
Moving the faders, pulling up the emails, reading stuff, all that good stuff.
Trying to explain things to you that I said in like way too fast, and because I've had a lot of cold brew today. And
We also have,
did you go to Viet 5 again?
I did not, but I did have a cold brew, and I had more than I should have.
All right, you're like Kool-Aid Man right now. You're gonna go.
Your foot is
Foot's tapping.
You're like me driving in today for different reasons. Anyway, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button for us. Subscribe to our YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, all that great stuff. We love you. We appreciate you. And as we do on every Mailbag Monday, we begin the show with questions from our diehards only Discord. Law, do the honors, my friend.
Oh, let's open up the mailbag with this from our guy, Charlie, the Bacon Guy. And this has nothing to do with hockey. I just love it so much. We're going to start with it. What would your wrestling names be? I love this question.
My middle name is James, and when I would create wrestlers in the video games, like on Xbox and whatnot, you could have, intro, like your intro name.
Yeah.
That could actually be like, it would be like default loaded in, so they would say it. And Ace was always one, and it was at the top of the list. So I was just like, let's pick that one. Very creative. But I would go as James Ace.
That works.
Right. There you go.
I think Mario James kind of works too. That's wrestling.
I feel like if you go into the world of wrestling, your name is Mario, it's going to come out with the Super Mario character, because going through life as a Mario in real life, it comes out as the Mario character. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so I would be James Ace, and I would lean into. I would always either lean into.
James Ace is a total jobber.
It's pretty good.
I was
He's
big.
a jobber.
So I was huge into Steve Austin. So I'd already, like, James Ace, I could think like, okay, some sort of like pseudo Austin biker kind of thing as a character, or I'd be like Gambit with like cards and shit, like do that.
Oh, that's
fun. Anyway, just off the top of my head,
Nothing you've ever thought about before.
No, not at all.
I think I just created my name last week. I'd be the Poutine Machine.
Yes. Hell yeah.
And I'd have like,
there you go.
I'd be a masked wrestler with like cheese curds and gravy on the mask. And I'd be the Poutine Machine.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Nate
And
asked
my
which
finisher
one of
would be like
would be
the
high
deep
flyer
fryer or something like that.
The deep fryer. That's a great idea.
Well, since what is it? Poo Poo Steve and the Diarrhea Gang is taken. I can't do that.
Diarrhea Dan and the
Speaking of
poo poo.
food,
You know,
Gang.
this is something that I'm not good at making decisions like this, because I have been trying to get a tattoo for 30 years and can't make up my mind on what I want and what I would love enough.
Good thing
and
it's wrestling. You can just change your name and your look.
I guess so. Yeah, just change my
If it
gimmick.
doesn't work, you change.
Yeah.
I really have thought about this, and every time I try to create myself, I'm so unsatisfied with what I come up with. I know I've had, like in the 2K games, like the Lumberjack before, but they're all cheesy. Like they're all
Lumberjack.
I need someone to do it for me. I need someone I need a less problematic Vince McMahon to come up with my gimmick for me.
Creative, I believe they call it.
Yeah, I'm just not.
There's the box of gimmicks, as Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah,
used
so
to
like,
say.
give me. So this is what I always say too about my time as a producer is like, I'm not the greatest initiator of ideas, but I get over the finish line. I'm the closer. So give me a.
There you go, the closer.
The closer. There you go. Give me an idea, and I will lean into it and I will execute it well. But coming up with it is tough. I can just be like the third bushwhacker. Like
Sure.
Bushwhacker Jay.
Sure.
You just go around and like lick people's heads and I don't know.
You can do that.
Smell like cabbage. I'm assuming. Have you ever met them at C2E2?
I do not.
The Bushwhackers.
No.
Are they alive?
One of them is gone.
Oh,
The other one's probably still wrestling because he has no money.
yeah, that's
Could be.
sad.
crazy.
That's sad. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer. I'm disappointed in myself, quite frankly.
Well, I'm gonna join with this one. I'm gonna go with Mr. Perfectionist.
Not Mr. Perfect, but Mr.
No.
Perfectionist.
Yes, because I have a problem. You know?
Okay.
All right,
Or Mr.
fair enough.
OCD. One of
The
the
OCD man.
Be V at 5.
Yeah. Okay, let's go
that's
to
good.
the reason we're here. This is from AJ. I was listening to the What Chaos Boys talk to Down Goes Brown, and DJ floated a Seth Jones for Mitch Marner trade. I'm not at all sold on this being realistic, but I'd love to hear you guys talk about this.
Well, we've had a few Mitch Marner questions.
Yes, we do have
this week.
more
Yeah,
from
that is
Twitter.
The
Do you want me
theme
to?
of today's show is Mitchell Marner.
Should we wrap them all in one big thing and just get all of Mitch out, or
let's just go.
or
Let's
address each one?
Yeah, how
Let's
about
rapid
that?
fire
Let's-
some Mitch questions, but let's go to this one first because I think this one's interesting because the Maple Leafs. First of all, they're always good for a talking point, one way or the other. But defensively, like for years, they've been trying to figure it out, and they haven't been able to find a solidified answer defensively. And you have Morgan Rielly, who's a good top pair defenseman, but not a great top pair defenseman at this point of his
He's
career.
Toronto Seth Jones.
Yes. You have Timothy Liljegren. You have you brought in Mark Giordano. He can't get in the lineup. You had TJ Brody for a few years now. He can't get into the lineup. You brought in Jake McCabe. You have Simone Benoit. Like it's a lot of just like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what might stick with Morgan Rielly being there.
Yeah.
You had Jake Muzzin work for a while, and then he got hurt. You brought in Jonathan Klingberg with one good hip. That's as far as you ever got with him. So with Seth Jones, honestly, it makes sense for the Maple Leafs to get a guy who is a top pair quality player, who can play in all situations, who can eat tons of minutes, could be either a top line guy or a second line guy and be totally fine with it, and who's in the prime of his career. And with his deal, like it's long term, it's fixed money for a while, and they have some cap restraints on them with their core. And if you trade a guy like Mitch Marner who makes more than Seth Jones, you kind of you take from that well of what you have an abundance of, which is top line scorers.
Yeah.
You bring in a top pair quality defenseman. You also add yourself like $1.5 million, almost $2 million of cap space. I don't know, like it kind of sounds crazy, but from a Maple Leaf standpoint, it makes sense to me.
I mean, if you're asking me would I make that trade, the answer is yes. I would trade Seth Jones for Mitch Marner. I would.
Yeah.
But here's a couple of things to consider, and these are important when we talk about these things. Both have full no movement clauses, which a lot of people have, and they get traded all the time.
Yeah. Right.
So on the surface, I don't usually pay attention to that.
No, it doesn't mean you'll never trade me. It means you're going to trade me where I want to go.
Where I want to go.
Right.
And
I
there's
Mr.
get-
Kane had a no movement. clause.
I get to say when and where I get to go.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there's nothing about Seth Jones that shows me or tells me he has any interest in being part of the circus in Toronto. It's nothing against him.
not.
It just, to me, it doesn't seem like that's his personality. It doesn't seem like a place he wants to go. When he was choosing whether to come here during that trade with Columbus, it was here or Dallas, and that was really the only two places he would consider. Maybe that's changed. Maybe because things have been so the team has lost so much with him here that he wants now wants the opportunity to go play for a legitimately good team. I think it would help the Leafs. The Hawks have an abundance of defensive prospects. I think it would help the Hawks bring in a guy you can count on to play with Bedard for the rest of his career here in Chicago. My whole thing, though, is he's unrestricted free agent. He'll be a free agent after next year. You could just go sign him and keep Seth Jones.
Well, yeah, any trade that I make this offseason to get Mitch Marner comes with an already signed extension.
An extension.
Fair.
That's
Yep.
the only trade I make. I don't trade him for 1 year for him to walk out. But, I don't think – I mean, who knows what the Maple Leafs are going to do. I think if that trade came to the Blackhawks of, hey, we'll give you Mitch Marner and he's signing a new 6-year deal at whatever, 10, 9.
He's already making.
He makes 11.
He makes 10.903.
All right.
That extra 3,000 was very important.
And I'm just going to address what everybody loves to say about his playoff performance, and he's a disappearing act. You're just wrong. You're just wrong. He's the scapegoat this year. It's his turn again. It's very easy to pick and choose and be Biz screaming at you, and it just. Can we just talk about last night's TNT in studio crew? I don't know if you guys are watching. Unwatchable. I love Liam McHugh and I love Anson Carter, but Colby Armstrong sucks.
Colby Armstrong blows.
Worthless. And then all you have
is so trying to be a bro.
You just have Biz yelling at you the whole time. And yes, he picked out 3 plays where Mitch Marner didn't look great. And that's easy to do. And you could probably pick out 3 or 4 plays of every single player on the Maple Leafs making similar plays if you wanted to feed your narrative. You can find whatever you want to feed your narrative. Mitch Marner is a Selke finalist last year.
Yeah. Mitch Marner has 49 points in 54 career playoff games.
He has a 1.11 point per game average in his career in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean,
and slightly below that in his playoff career. And of course, he's going to get picked off. And people say, oh, he needs to win board battles. That's not his game.
Right.
You know who needs to win the board battles on that team right now? John Tavares, Max Domi, Tyler Bertuzzi, Ryan Reeves, the guys that they brought in to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And oh my God, it's happening again.
Yeah, the infighting thing too. When you see it on the bench, you know it's bad.
So,
by the way, Mitch Marner last year, 14 points in 11 playoff games.
But he's invisible. You didn't see that. You can't see him. He's John Cena. He's invisible. He's the scapegoat this year. The year before, it was Austin Matthews. The year before that, it was William Nylander. The year before that, it was Marner. He's a really good player, and he turns 27 on Sunday. So he's in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
If it's Mitch Marner and a 5-year deal for Seth Jones straight up, it's a tempting offer. I really think Seth Jones has a lot to offer, though, through this rebuild.
He does.
And
I agree.
And I don't think as you said, I don't think he's a guy that says, yeah, I want to go to Toronto. I'm the guy to fix their problems. No.
Yeah.
And as soon as that trade happens, you think the pressure on Jones was bad here.
Yeah.
And the reaction, as soon as he has a turnover.
Oh, it's tenfold.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. If I was him, I would say, I have a 1-team no-trade list. It's Toronto. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, would I take Mitch Marner on my team? Yes, absolutely. 100 times out of 100. But I mean, honestly, look at this team when Seth Jones was not on it for the stretch he was out with injury. Oof. And Mitch Marner in place of Seth Jones, and then you bring up, Nolan Allen, not to play the role of Seth Jones, but you just bring him up and move everybody up the roster. Yeesh,
you can bring somebody else in,
that'd be a tough defensive core, and you're going to have a lot of guys that are going to continue to have to grow into being top 6, top 4, top pair guys. Alex Vlasic, I think it's easy to say he's a top 4 guy for sure with top pair potential if he keeps on his trajectory, but plucking Seth Jones out and dropping Mitch Marner in doesn't help you in the short term defensively from a blue line perspective.
That's true.
And I think Seth Jones, as we've seen with Alex Vlasic, has a lot to offer as far as getting these young guys to NHL speed, being a mentor on the ice, off the ice. I think there's some value to that. So Seth Jones for Mitch Marner straight up on NHL 24, heck yeah. In real life, there's some problems on both sides of that.
I don't see it happening.
And it would help Toronto, but I think from a Chicago perspective, it would be a real thinker.
Yeah, I don't think I don't in the long run when you do the pros and cons, at first you're like, yeah, that sounds like a great deal, but then when you start breaking down the value that each guy brings to your room, I think Seth Jones gives this team more value right now than Mitch Marner. And I would like Mitch Marner as a Blackhawk at some point if it's available, either free agency or a different trade. But I also would like Mitch Marner and Seth Jones to both be Blackhawks if that's possible.
That would be great. That would be ideal, yes. All right, we got to take a break. We got a bunch more questions queued up, so stick around. Make sure you smash that like button for us if you haven't already, and subscribe to the YouTube page.
Yes, and if you are in the market for a new vehicle, maybe you get traded from the Blackhawks to the Maple Leafs. You need a nice full-size vehicle to help you move. Well, if you are, we got great news for you. Our partner at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and
Ram.
in Fox Lake is celebrating Jeep celebration events all month long. And you know what that means? Well, I'm going to tell you. You're going to be able to rave about their savings on a wide selection of inventory for a limited time. You can lease a brand new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo Altitude for $439 a month for only 39 months. And if that Grand Cherokee isn't big enough for you, you can check out a third row and lease a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited L for $479 a month for 39 months. That sounds more like a W than an L to me. At Ray,
I like
CD,
that.
J, R,
R.
and stuff. It's Monday, man. I've had a long weekend. No matter, you're going to always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect thanks to Ray and his awesome price promise. Don't miss out. Shop great deals all month long and save big because at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, they make buying a new vehicle more affordable than ever. And that's not all. Just for listening, you're going to get a free oil change just when you mention CHGO at the service center or mention CHGO. That's us when you book online at Ray CDJR/service. But you have to schedule before April 30th. That's
tomorrow.
Schedule tomorrow.
Do it now.
Do it now.
After now.
As soon as
After
the
the
show
show.
is over.
Come on!
After the show is over.
I don't care.
Yes.
Combining.
So if you're in the market
Neighbor.
for a new vehicle, and check out the team, our neighbor at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they're the only one that we recommend. Visit them on Route 12 in Fox Lake or head over to raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963.
Hey, do you like daily fantasy?
Yes.
If you said no, that means you haven't used Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is awesome. It is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and that's where most of us live. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. We do it all the time. You just play more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch that money roll in. You just fill that bathtub with dollar bills. Get the caviar out there. Get the little champagne flute, and you are just raking in those winnings. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. That means turn $10 into 1,000 with basketball, hockey, and more today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO. Use that code CHGO, and you'll get a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO with the code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's fun.
Love that Prize Pick.
All right.
A lot of fun.
So I know this is Mailbag Monday, but this is the Marnbag Monday. We're gonna.
I see what you did.
I know
Marnbag.
we give Discord
Marnbag.
people
What a
the
Marnbag.
priority, but we do have a couple more Mitch Marner questions.
All right.
Marn
So
bag
let's-
sounds like something you don't want to get hit in.
Correct.
Correct.
Yuck. All right, this is from Tom Quinn,
right next to the yin bag.
who says, given the meltdown occurring in Toronto, parentheses dangle, what are the realistic chances that Marner becomes available, and would the Hawks have interest, and what would you give up if they were interested? Which we've sort of talked about.
I mean, again, if he's made available, it's not. I don't think it's the craziest thing to think about. To, if you're Kyle Davidson, inquire.
Make a call.
What would be the deal that you would look for?
Yeah, I mean, we talked that he doesn't want to make any long-term commitments at this point in the rebuild, but that's the type of guy you do because, as I said, turns 27 this weekend.
Yep.
Still got a lot of hockey left. Those are the type of players that you, at this point, would lock up long-term. If he's going to be available, we'll see. I don't know. Every year we say, they're going to make some changes, and they never do.
Right.
So who knows what the hell they're going to do. I'm done predicting the Maple Leafs are going to blow it up because they've yet to blow it up. Maybe you're probably the easy move, but they just gave him an extension. But The easy move is to get rid of Sheldon Keefe because that clown can't coach his way out of
I
a
think
paper
he's
bag.
fired regardless.
But then why the hell would
He's
you
been
give
in the hot
him-
seat for 2 years.
They gave him an extension.
I think you have to do that
got
as a
the-
sign of
Is
faith,
that the
so your
current
players
GM
aren't like.
gave him an extension?
I think they gave him the extension right after they got rid of Dubas, didn't they?
You have to do that as a vote of confidence because you can't have a lame duck coach sitting there for a team that stacked and that ready to win.
Yeah, but-
allegedly,
But
Yeah,
they're
but
not.
he's-
They're never.
he's-
They're not ready to win.
He's also he's been the coach for the entire time that they've had this core together, and it's easy to fire a coach, but I think this is part of the problem. I think is that there's only so far that Sheldon Keefe can take that team from a coaching standpoint. So there's if I know there's still a game 5 to be played, and who knows what could happen, but I think we've all seen this script before with the Leafs, like going out again in this fashion against Boston in the first round yet again. There needs to be a coaching change and a player personnel change. There has to be, and if there's not, then enjoy your 90 plus, maybe 100 points in the regular season, and doing the same thing over and over and over again. This team has plateaued with who they have.
if you're going to make a trade, by the way, for Mitch Marner, and Gravely Dig says Tampa's number 19 and 34 and a second next year, and a third or Renzel for Marner. That's not enough. I'm telling you,
That's
it's not
not
enough.
enough.
If you're going to
No.
trade for Mitch Marner, it's going to cost you Kevin Korchinski. It's going to cost you Frank Nazar. It's going to cost you Oliver Morris.
Then I pass.
Yeah.
If
No.
you're like, hey, I'm going to trade one of these fringe prospects and a couple of draft picks, no, put yourself in Toronto's shoes. They're, like, if they've got Mitch Marner available to 31 other teams, they're not just going to settle for a guy that might pan out in the NHL.
As I said earlier, any trade that I'm giving up multiple assets to get Mitch Marner, it better come with an extension already
Yes.
signed.
Right.
I'm not
And Jake
doing that
McCabe
for
back
1
just
year.
for funsies.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
not trading Frank.
Yeah.
I'm not trading Frank Nazar.
No, I'm not either.
No.
I'm not either.
They can
I'm just-
ask.
but I'm just saying, like,
They can ask all they want.
to pull
and
off
I will
a
hang
trade
up on them.
to pull off a trade of that magnitude, you have to give up something that Toronto is going to want. Like, again, you've got, if Mitch Marner is, there's going to be an email sent to 31 teams saying, hey, if you want Mitch Marner, come and get him. You're going to have to do more than Sam Renzel and a bunch of mid-level, mid-first round picks.
Right.
Because some team's going to be like, we will give you the bag for this guy.
Give them their
we'll change your
give
franchise.
them their pick back that they gave to us for McCabe and Lafferty.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
sure.
There you go.
I think if somebody hits the market, if they're going to shop a guy, the only way they trade Mitch Marner this summer is if they know for a fact that they're not going to be able to re-sign him.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to re-sign him.
Which is why I always think, like, as we look at Toronto making moves, there's 1 year left on John Tavares' deal.
That's the guy that
That's
they probably
really easy
ship.
for them to do.
That's a team that, like, you know, you look at the teams this year. Maybe that's a team that, gets eliminated in the conference final, and they're like, man, we were just
One guy
away.
Yep.
That's the guy you give. That's the final piece of the puzzle type guy. So I would think, to be honest with you, you'd probably get more. You'd probably get more teams interested in a John Tavares than a Mitch Marner, just for the fact that they know it's only going to be 1 year. Where if you give up a ton, you're going to be the Ottawa Senators and give up a ton to get Alex DeBrincat just to see him play
you
1
need
year
it.
and go
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Right.
No one's going to do that. So, we'll see. Something's got to happen this summer. Now you watch the Maple Leafs in typical Maple Leafs fashion will probably win the next 2 games and force a Game 7 and get everybody's hopes up, and then all them dorks in Maple Leaf Square can all leave Game 7 crying. But
I don't see
something's got to change there. And again, this is the last 4 years. I think they actually have to break up this core 4, core 5 when you think about it. They always say core 4, but Morgan Riley's included in
He's
that
part
core.
of it, yeah.
He's just not a forward, and it's not going to be Matthews. They just re-signed Nylander, which if this kid all of a sudden has chronic migraine problems, whoops, that contract could be a killer. So it's Marner or Tavares, and I honestly think even though Marner is younger, I think a veteran team, a Dallas Stars type team, goes out and gets a John Tavares.
Well, and you get a Tavares deal for maybe not like Mrazek, but Toronto's going to give up some assets to move that money. Like, you're not going to, or you just give them whatever and they take it. Like if you, I think if you were to call Toronto this summer and say, we'll give you a second round pick for John Tavares, they would probably do it to get the $11 million off the book. If you're paying every dollar on his contract for the year, which eliminates a lot of teams from getting him.
Right, that's true too.
But hey, I mean, we've been talking about Steven Stamkos for the Hawks. John Tavares for a year.
No.
I don't know. Like everyone gets their reputation ruined by Toronto, and just like one other thing about Toronto, I know we have another Marner question. Part of I called it a mind virus to Nick Foligno when he was here last Thursday. Part of it comes from the fans. It's a playoff series. You're going to lose games. Every loss is a fucking catastrophe to these people. Like, oh my God, we lost, and Steve Dangle is screaming and yelling and crying. It's the Boston Bruins. You think you're going to sweep them? You think there wasn't going to be any adversity in this series? Like, every ounce of adversity becomes meltdown city in Toronto, the mecca of hockey. Shouldn't they know more about how hockey works than that? Like, you don't see the Dallas Stars melting down. They played their best game of the series and still needed overtime to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's how playoff hockey goes. And the part of the reason that the players get so spooked by it is because they're like, oh my God, we're down, the series is tied, or we're down 2-1. The world is not ending. No one predicted us to sweep. So if you picked us to win in 6, you predicted 2 losses, but it just is constant. And it's on the news, and it's on, like you said.
Well, it's a very entitled fan base. They
oh
just
my
think
goodness.
Because they're Toronto Maple Leafs, we should have everything handed to us.
We should know better by now because they haven't had shit handed to them since the 60s. Last time they won a cup.
Yeah.
So it's just like, grow up. Learn how to watch a playoff series.
It gets you clicks when you get on and scream like a child after
I
every
guess so.
loss. It's worked for Dangle. He's turned a career into it.
All right, well, we've been talking Marner trades, so let's get dumb. White Lion Fan Club says, come up with your dumbest Mitch Marner trade proposal.
Oh, this is our guy Fork of Hockey Night fame.
Hey, don't besmirch White Lion. They had that one good song.
Yeah.
When the Children Cry.
Yeah.
Good song. And that's about it.
It's a good 80s song.
Yeah, good 80s ballad. Power ballad.
Dumbest Mitch Marner trade
Well,
proposal.
we've had a couple in the comments.
I didn't want to say it, but
there was one that said like Murphy. It was like Murphy and a third or something. I was just like,
Murphy,
sure.
yeah.
That's a dumb one.
I'm sure he wants us, knowing Fork the way I know him, he wants us to give us our like most lopsided in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it's going to be like, you know,
the rights to Jared Tenorti.
Yeah, right.
Taylor Radish's
Jacob
rights, their first round pick back, the rights to Taylor Radish, and Ryder Rolston for
Arvid
Mitch Marner.
Soderblom for Mitch
give him-
Marner.
Well, they have. I mean,
1 for 1.
They've got a goalie issue.
That's true.
That's how you got to look at it.
They always
is,
do.
Hey, Toronto needs help at defense. Connor Murphy should get it done.
He does. Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
no, it doesn't.
My
Yeah.
dumbest would be 3 Connie's deep dish pizzas, because not even going to give him the best.
Pizza's pizza.
A case of special export.
Ooh.
And all the pig slop you can eat at the Rockford Ice House games.
No deal.
Now that's invaluable. Can't put a price on that.
No deal. I'm not giving up the
And
big
Jim
slot.
Belushi.
Oh, Jim
I'll
Belushi
throw
is
Jim
a throwaway.
Belushi in there as a
100%.
kicker.
Sure.
The rights
100%.
to Jim Belushi make him a Toronto citizen.
With Toronto retaining salary on Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
Right.
All right.
It's pretty dumb. I love it.
Pretty stupid. I think we're done with the Marn bag. Let's talk
Back to the
about
mailbag,
other things at this
not the Marn bag.
point. Here's another player that we're going back to the Discord now. This is from Michael Evans. Curious about your thoughts on going after Duchene in the offseason. I know he
Duchene.
wants to win a cup and loves being in Dallas, but I think he'd be a good addition down the middle for a little while unless he's a pudwhack and I forgot.
Yeah, Pudwackian tendencies. I think.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not
not
the
a
kind of
fan.
guy I'm bringing in
Not
right
the
now.
kind of
Not a fan.
not the kind that I would want to
He's been good.
bring in. I mean, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. But as Greg has said, and as the organization is kind of hinting to, let's raise the standard. And I think with Duchene being fine, middle of your lineup center, fine.
How old is he at this point?
I don't
He's
think it's
33 years old.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
You
not.
that's
it's
something
not a,
you forget.
It's not a fit at all.
He's been in the league since his rookie season was the 09-10 season. That's
Wow.
how long he's been in the league.
Yeah, it's not really the kind of personality you're looking to bring in. And what I mean,
15-year veteran.
I don't know if he's a bad guy necessarily, but I just think that
He
like
just seems to be a guy that just never has lived up 100% to his
and if you're talking,
expectation.
you
He's
have
a third overall pick.
your entire leadership team too. Last Saturday is talking about we want guys who are going to willingly accept their roles, execute, play for the team, not play for themselves. Not sure if Matt Duchene is that dude.
Yeah, I'd like, and plus I think he's at the point of his career that he'll probably cup chase. And I think there are still plenty of contenders out there that would add him to the mix if that's a middle six scoring.
Well, yeah, I
option
mean,
type guy.
if you're a team poised to win, adding him to a veteran laden roster that's not going to take any crap makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good the last couple of years. His 21-22, he had 43 goals, 86 points, 56 points last year, and then this year in Dallas, 25 goals, 65 points. Still putting up good production, but I don't know. I don't think he's the right fit for this Blackhawks team.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And if you're bringing in a guy who's at that age, you're looking for, like, let's bring in a guy who might help us in the next 2 years and is going to help push forward the young guys. And I don't think that's ever been his strong point.
No, I agree.
So,
who's got game time?
I do. I have game time because I've used game time before.
Me too.
Yeah. And if you want to use game time, well, you'd be a smart person because you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. And Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all these sports, music, comedy, and theater events nearest or farthest to you if you want to make a road trip. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, the views from your seats feature, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And if you're on the fence about, I don't know what my plans might be for next weekend, I might want to go to the Cubs game, I don't know, and then, hey, that dinner you were supposed to go to on Saturday night fell through. Now I can go to the Cubs game. Well, you hit up Game Time for their last-minute ticket deals. You might be getting yourself a seat in the bleachers for much less than you were expecting when you first thought about going to the game. And if you happen to have a bunch of different ticketing site apps downloaded as well as Game Time, and you happen to find a seat that is the same seat that you were looking for at Game Time but at a lower price, you can bring it to Game Time, and they will credit you 110% of the difference between those tickets to make sure that you are getting the best value on that seat through Game Time. That's how much they care. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
And between work and social media and the choices life throws our way, like your parents' basement flooding, that happened to me today, it's no wonder we're more worked up than ever. That's why, when I got to work, I opened a Coors Light, just like everybody should.
Yes.
Walk into work, open the fridge, start drinking, right on a job. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn a rained-out barbecue into a karaoke house party? Or after a tough loss, Maple Leafs fans, settle scores with an ice-cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. It is awesome. And when those Martins turn blue, mine are still pretty blue considering it's been about a half hour since I opened this. It's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. You know that by now. And when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door or office with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right, we're going to go back to the mailbag in a second here, but we have a super chat from Ben, $5. Thank you, Ben.
Thirst trap picture, Ben.
Yeah, this is slightly concerning avatar, but yeah.
Like
love the show,
Louis CK.
guys. Love the show, guys, and your show has...
Say horny.
Settle down. Love the show, guys, and your show has made me very hopeful for the Hawks' future.
As you should be.
How about Stamkos to pair up on the top line with Bedard.
Yes, please.
I'm
absolutely.
for it.
Yes.
I just don't
We've
think
done-
Stamkos is.
We've been on that Stamkos train for a little while now, but I don't know how much of a reality it actually would be.
Takes two
but
people to sign a contract.
It would be great. I think it'd be a great fit.
Makes all the sense in the world.
I think on the ice, off the ice, Steven Stamkos being a Chicago Blackhawk, there's no losing that deal. But yes, it comes down to also what Stamkos wants to do with his career.
And I still think in the end he stays in Tampa.
It's hard to imagine.
Look what
Tampa
he's
without
doing
him.
in this playoff.
He's so freaking good.
He's single-handedly keeping their season alive. Imagine if they didn't have him.
And I know he's been in the league for a long time and has had a bunch of injuries, but like he seems to be back from the injuries.
Yeah.
And maybe the couple years off of not playing hockey has bought him a little more time than we thought. Like he does not look a step slower than he ever has. Like he's just awesome. I mean, would be amazing. All of us here have talked about it. We're all on board with it. I'm just not getting my hopes up that on July 1st, that press release comes out at 12:01 p.m. saying Blackhawks and Steven Stamkos agree on a 3-year deal.
I still
it
think
just doesn't seem very likely.
I think
Maybe.
ultimately they find a way to keep him
Maybe
in
not.
Tampa, and if they don't, I don't see him being a guy that has done pretty much nothing but win his entire career. All of a sudden, I think it's time for me to go help some young kids on a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Wow.
I think he would go.
The only, I mean, if we want to paint some hope for people, if you can also add another veteran forward and a veteran defenseman, and Steven Stamkos says, all right, me, Bedard, Kurashev, Foligno, Dickinson, new veteran A, Nazar, Jones, Chris Tanev, maybe on defense. He looks at it and says, it's a team that's going to be in the hunt.
I think there's definitely a sellable team, a sellable
Not like the Coyotes, like
atmosphere. We'll
on all days, Jay.
on all. Jeez, such a
Now I feel
Coyotes
bad.
hater.
I need another beer.
There's definitely something very sellable about this team moving forward. You have some veterans that are good on the ice, good off the ice. You have a lot of young talent that's ready to take the next step. You have guys that are already here that are young, like Vlasic and Korchinski and Bedard and Reichel, that can take the next steps in their NHL careers. And you have a coach that I think is pretty well respected, that is learning and making progress in that sense of things. So I think there's a lot of arrows pointing in the right direction for this organization, that if you went to a player like Steven Stamkos and said, hey, like you can be a part of the come up and have a role to play in the next generation of hockey in Chicago in an original six market, I think there's something that's sellable there.
Well, you could also sellable. You could just pay him more than most would
That
be
too,
able
yeah.
to.
The money is also
and,
good.
and Ace with a good point, and he says it worked on Seth Jones. LOL. You're right. It did work on Seth Jones
yeah.
because they said, "Look what we got here. We got this old core. We've got DeBrincat coming up. We're gonna get Marc-Andre Fleury."
But that's him leaving Columbus. It's a lot different than leaving Tampa.
But if
and we
Tampa-
saw what leaving Tampa did to Tyler Johnson. He hated it here.
Yeah, he did.
So,
You really did not
but that
enjoy
was
it.
that was a different atmosphere and a different sell. That was, hey, play an elevated role on a team that's going to contend for the playoffs. 3 months later, no, it's not.
Yeah. James says, "Will you guys be live for the draft lottery next Tuesday?"
Yes. That was a question. That was a question, a mailbag question. But yeah,
oh,
sure.
Sorry.
Oh,
fine.
did we spoil it? Yes, we're going to be live.
Oh
Tuesday.
God, Mario.
Sorry. Did you think we weren't? Anyways.
Yes, that was from Rooney in the Discord.
Rooney.
Well, that was the second question anyway. Yes.
Yeah. Will you be doing?
We will be
Yes.
doing a draft lottery watch along, and
What that's going to look like, we don't know exactly yet, but we will be
We'll be
doing
on the air.
some sort of live show.
either here
for the
or
lottery.
someplace else, or
Either here or somewhere.
Yeah.
Either here or there.
And then, of course, Young Dangle God threw us a 99-cent piece to say, why pay an arm and a leg for Marner when you could just sign the best American-born player of all time?
Austin Matthews
free.
isn't available, though.
Yeah, and Chris Chelios
Chris
is 61 years old.
Chris Chelios still, he looks like he could still play. I don't think he can.
Is-
Chris
is-
Chelios for a shift or Jared Tenorti for a shift today?
today.
Chelios.
I'm taking Chelios.
Chelios,
Chelios for a whole game.
Nothing. If someone gets by him, we'll slash the hell out of him anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's true. What's Mike Modano up to?
Yeah, screw him.
Hey, speaking of numbers and math and stuff, we got almost 200 people watching, but
Whoa!
only 61 people liking. Those numbers
Come on.
don't match up.
Gotta smash that like
We need
button.
some likes here, folks. If you want the next question answered, you got to hit that like button.
Yeah, we're sitting here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Don't
gonna
be
sit here
Don't be like the Bears
and
people.
just talk
What do
more.
the Bears people do?
They just don't like. They don't like the stream. It's ridiculous. You should see the percentages on likes per views.
They're too busy yelling at each other to hit the like
Yeah,
button.
Yeah,
that's
that is
true.
We've
true.
got a nice, friendly
Yeah, it's wonderful. I
Lovable
love
Yeah,
it.
we've only
chat
called like 2 or 3 people
of,
stupid today.
mostly level-headed,
Mostly.
And
friendly people. Hey, there we go. Look at that. We shot
There
up
we go.
almost
See?
20 likes in 5
Thank you.
seconds.
We
I
didn't
like
call
that.
them
Let's go.
stupid. We called their thoughts stupid. It's different. It's
That's
like
true.
you're not crazy. You're acting crazy.
Yeah.
Right. That works every time.
Yes, that's always followed by a logical conversation.
Good way to sleep on the couch for 3
Next
or 4
question,
days.
please. Quickly.
Okay, let's go back to the mailbag, and it is Rooney with his actual question.
Here's his first question.
With Colorado's tight cap and Casey Mittelstadt and restricted free agent, is there a deal to swing for his rights before the draft? Would the Tampa Bay pick plus a number 2 do it? Only makes sense if they don't get Celebrini number 1 overall next week.
I would love Casey Mittelstadt here, but I think I think it was Mario a couple weeks ago said you don't trade for that guy if you're not going to resign him. You don't trade Bowen Byram for Casey Mittelstadt if you're
For
not
a
if
rental.
Casey
Yeah.
Mittelstadt's not in your plans.
Yeah, I
They'll make it work.
I have confidence that Colorado will make it work for him for sure.
They will find.
If he is available,
But yes, absolutely.
hey, like
Sure.
yeah, he's a guy who's what 25, 26, could play second line center, be reliable. Wouldn't hate it, and I don't think he's going to cost you all that much. It's not Marner money. So if he was made available, sure, explore it. Make the call, Kyle, and see what you can do. But
He's 25.
$2.5 million this year.
I don't expect him to not be with the Avalanche.
And someone had a question about an offer sheet. Those almost never happen.
No, there's a reason they never
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, it was Jason. Wyatt Johnston is great, but with all the picks you have to give up to
Yeah, no,
fulfill that, you might just be able to draft a Wyatt Johnston in that batch.
you could. Yeah,
Love the guy though.
In Colorado,
I wish there were more offer sheets. They're fun.
Yeah,
They're super fun.
I just don't
Yeah.
think a lot of teams like to take those risks.
It's one of those stupid unwritten hockey rules too. You rarely ever do it. You rarely
only
ever see it.
only Carolina and Montreal are petty enough to offer sheet each other.
Yeah. So, just looking at Colorado's contract situation for next year.
They got most of their important guys locked up.
Yeah.
It's like
There's
$9
not
million in cap
really-
space heading into next year.
Yeah, and that should be plenty for.
I mean, it'll likely be Mittelstadt and then a couple more roster fillers.
Yeah, you give Mittelstadt 5, and then you can use the rest to fill
Well,
in
here's the
gaps.
thing, though. You've got Gabriel Landeskog, $7 million is probably going to
right.
be back on the books because
That's
he's
true.
going to be playing, they hope, next year.
That's right.
So, but they'll find a way.
Now he'll be on LTIR until the end of the
Right.
season, and then once
Why not?
playoffs start,
It's working
Gabriel
for
Landeskog is
Vegas.
Back, miraculous return.
Yes.
Let's go back to the Discord. This is Windy City Hockey, who says,
What?
with how the Ice Hogs game ended on Saturday, what could be the worst officiated game have you guys ever seen? I have to say, due to how the game one ended for the Ice Hogs, it might have to take the cake.
Yeah, so if you didn't see the Rockford Ice Hogs game on Saturday night, 2-0 lead was squandered in the third period, went to overtime, and there's a play along the far boards on your TV screens where I don't know who hit him, but somebody on the Griffins boarded Brett Seney. Like, even for overtime of a playoff game, watching that game, I was just like, that's a penalty. And it went uncalled. So half of the Ice Hogs and half of the Griffins that were on the ice kind of stopped playing because they figured that's going to be called. It wasn't. Philip Roos left the defensive zone because this play was at about center ice. He left the defensive zone to go and basically start a fight with the guy who hit Bretzini to try and get a whistle, stop the play and have the refs, maybe discuss what had just happened. That goes on. That's not enough to stop the play. Jonathan Berggren continues play, gets a one-on-one with Wyatt Kaiser, beats him to the outside, and barely trickles the puck past Jackson Stauber on a backhand play. Scores the OT winner. It ends up being the call has ended up being upheld after the referees convened. It was just it baffled me that neither one of those instances, the hit or Roos trying to start a fight, didn't stop the play. I was baffled by that, but at that point, I guess it sucks, but you just have to keep playing until there actually is a whistle. So it was a really unfortunate way for the game to play. Really, really bad decisions from my opinion, on the referees, but it sucks that is the way that game ended. As far as it being the worst officiated game ever, I mean, the ending was pretty bad, but I don't think I wouldn't have called that the worst officiated game I've ever seen play.
It's hard for me to think of a specific game, but that call in Game 7, Hawks and Red Wings, where Saad got tangled up behind the play, Nicholas Hjalmarsson appeared to have scored, and they blew it off. Like, you had two guys tangled up. It happens 100 times during a playoff game.
Right.
Yeah.
And you blow the play dead on a play that's not even affecting the game at all at that moment. That was maybe the worst call I've ever seen. And, yeah, I'm a little biased, yes, but it worked out.
Yeah, Van Helsing 8900 says Game 7 of the 2014 Western Conference Final had some of the worst officiating. I think it's fair to say any playoff game you're going to have you're going to have memories of bad calls or missed calls because of the gravity of the situation.
You're right about that, Lawrence. There's not a single Grand Rapids Griffins fan complaining about officiating right now. It's only bad officiating when it goes against your team. There probably definitely should have been a whistle at some point, if not for the hit, for the follow. But there wasn't. But play to the whistle.
Yeah.
You worry about that once the whistle blows. Like, it's still a puck and play. It was just a bad, weird play all the way around. Worst officiated game ever. I doubt it. Got to remember, though, AHL officials are AHL officials for a reason.
Right.
They're either they don't have the experience, they don't have the they're trying to get to the NHL like everybody else. So there's as much as there's a drop off in skill, there's also a drop off in officiating from the NHL to the AHL because they're not the best of the best yet. So that's why they're down in the AHL. And then a good reminder from Windy City Hockey that we all remember, there was no penalty on Raffi Torres on the night he assaulted Miran Hosses. That's pretty bad officiating. The only person who got a penalty on that play, the Coyotes, if you remember, they got a power play out of that fiasco.
Ugh. Wait, what's Josh talking about? The Hjalmarsson?
That was the Game 7.
That was so
Hjalmarsson got waved off.
Scored.
Oh, yeah.
With like a minute and a half left in that Game 7, and it was waved off. And he almost
awesome
chucked his
goal.
stick into
and
the stands.
The worst was being at that game and not ever getting like any kind of explanation. Like the ref never went on and said it. Like, it was crazy. We never really heard the official thing in the building. But it was that was pretty awful.
And I saw someone was asking about the AHL playoffs. Rockford is in a best of 5 series right now with Grand Rapids. There's Earthbound MV. So it's best of 5. So they lost Game 1. Games 2 and 3 are in Grand Rapids Wednesday and Friday. If they win either of those games, Game 4 will be Sunday evening, 5 o'clock in Rockford, should there need to be a Game 4.
Yes. The play-in series are best of 3. The division semifinals are best of 5. And then once they get to the next round, they're best of 7 on all the way out. So if they get to the next round, it'll be best of 7. And then it's conference finals and
Calder
Cup final, best of 7.
Yep.
All right.
All right, let's finish up the mailbag, the Discord portion of the mailbag. This is from USM0506. What would your individual goal songs be? Mine would probably be Fuel by Metallica.
Individual goals.
That's pretty good. I was going to say it's Raining Men by the Weather Girls. That's my
Always a
first
good-
thought.
That's always a good one. Yeah. I think we've had this question.
Good thing you wouldn't
before,
score
but
much.
It's always
That's
fun
true.
to think about.
That's true. Yeah, I would go with something just comically off the charts stupid.
Yakety sax.
Yeah, something just so anti the idea of a goal song.
Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, right. The whole song.
Yeah, exactly.
An Enya song.
American Pie.
I'll just play Pure Moods and put it on shuffle. But just the actual commercial for Pure Moods where they all play. Yeah.
Speaking of commercials, I think my goal song would be "What a Pro
Nope.
Wants."
Punch you
What
in
a
the
pro
Oh
needs.
God.
I'm glad your groin hurts from that. You deserve it.
Oh God, I hate that commercial
I hate
so
AT&T.
much.
I'm never buying anything from AT&T ever
Unless,
again.
of course, AT&T would like to sponsor us here.
Oh, then I love it.
Oh,
I'll
sure.
sing
at
that song at every
CHGO,
ad
and
break.
if they do, you want to hit up Jim Cook, who's in the chat and not selling anything.
He's figuring out what the guy is here for to work
Yeah.
on the AC.
Unless those chats are sponsored, get back to work.
Yeah.
My goal song, man, I'd want something people could sing along to.
Yeah.
Piano Man.
So I don't know. Like, I think a good goal song. It's a song probably not a lot of people have ever heard, but people would get excited because it's fun and it's repetitive. Wonder Beer by Naked Ray Gun would be an awesome.
That's fun.
Wonder Beard?
goal song. Wonder Beer.
Ear. Oh, okay.
It's a nice sing-along song, or like maybe like Astro Zombies by the Misfits. You can get a few woes out there.
That's
and,
pretty
and,
good.
And people could sing along.
Whoa.
I still think the coolest, the song that fires me up the most is Volcano Girls by Veruca Salt.
Hell yes.
I don't know if it really fits a goal
I see
song.
what you did there.
Maybe in the
Fired Up,
PWHL.
Volcano. That worked.
It would work better, but I love that song. That song gets me
fucking
going.
jams.
Yeah.
God, I love that album.
It's like an instant, like you hear the boom, you're like immediately reach for the volume
Hell yes.
knob and turn it up.
The Sabres, when they had "Let Me Clear My Throat,"
That was awesome.
Yeah,
as
it's pretty
their,
good.
as their goal song, I might just bring that back personally. Like that was
Yeah.
a really good.
You need something that
That
people
would
can
get me
sing.
going.
Yeah.
Gets the people going.
Yeah,
I like that the
Humps.
Red Wings were using "Without Me" by Eminem. That's pretty cool.
That's a good one.
Just like that whole rhythm was cool.
Slam by Onyx.
This
That's a
again
good
falls
one.
into the territory of choose something to represent yourself, Jay, and I can't. It's too difficult.
I can't do it either.
I take it
It's
too seriously.
many good
to
songs.
ever decide.
You'd pick like the saddest Jason Isbell song
Yeah,
ever.
right. Here's when we were vampires.
And like, here's a song by the National and
It's
a bottle
Kleenex
of Sleeping
night.
Pills.
Oh yeah, a little fake empire. Sure, why not?
Actually, "Mistaken for Strangers" would be an awesome
Yeah.
goal song.
Anthony Tony says the Empire commercial song as a goal
Yeah.
song.
All right, I got
There
paid
you
for
go.
that.
Josh wants "Here Come the Hawks" for the Mighty Blackhawks.
That's a good one.
The old
So
Dick
I saw
Murphy.
1877 Cars for Kids was
Nope,
in there too.
That's
a good
let's
one.
not do that one. That's worse than the Pro wants
No, it's
commercial.
not. Nothing
Michael
is
Evans.
worse than what a pro wants. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. Young Dangle says
Oh, yeah.
"Wheels on the Bus."
Wheels on the Bus. That's a good one. Yep, that's a bop, as the kids say.
Yeah, a bop. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good.
Oh, yep.
Ooh, you know
lot
what?
of good
Somebody
songs.
uses Song 2 by
yeah.
Blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a team that uses it. I
The
don't know.
Wild use that?
No, Wild have the. Oh
Oh, yeah, the Joe Satriani.
Oh,
yeah.
BJD.
They got that
Super
one.
Beast by Rob Zombie.
Any White Zombie / Rob Zombie song
You know
probably
what?
works.
I'd do "Real American" by Rick Derringer, the Hulk Hogan theme song. I mean, if that will get the crowd.
Yes,
that
I'm
will
with
get the
you.
crowd
I'm a
pumped. Or the Ultimate
real
Warrior
American.
theme song.
That's great.
Lucy B says "Without Me" was an amazing goal song in her opinion.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
the
Red
Eminem.
Wings.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's a
And
good
then also says that she likes the Rockford's goal song. What's that? Do we know?
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Any Green Day
So
song?
many
a
songs.
lot of good
I don't know
ones.
about any Green Day song. Like
Time of Your Life.
"Time of Your Life" would probably not, or like "Wake Me Up When September Comes." It's probably not a great goal
Yeah.
song.
When September ends.
Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Either way.
Song sucks.
Okay, I think that's enough of those.
You
Wait.
think?
Already?
Michael Evans, "Like a Rock" by Popsy.
Dad rock.
That's great. Yes.
Hell
Just
My
have,
dad
a,
would
just
get
have
fired
a
up.
Chevy.
No, this is music.
Just have a Chevy Silverado drive
That's
onto
what-
the ice.
Whenever old time rock and roll comes on, my dad yells at me. No, this is the kind of music that I like. I'm like, we like the same music. What are you talking about?
I love
it like
the-
just triggers anger. In
I
him.
love the
like,
fact that that's his favorite song, and that's a song that was written about the music 40 years
Yeah,
ago.
right.
Sucking and not being like the
what are you-
music he likes.
What are you talking about? It's like I share my music with you all the time.
All All right, we have
that's funny.
plenty to go in Mailbag Monday, which will become
But Bob
Mailbag
Seeger sucks, for the record.
Tuesday, I'm assuming. But
just
let's
not true.
We got a
knock a
couple
few
more
more
minutes.
out. A lot of Marner talk today, so let's go to Johnny T here, who asks, "Hey, huge Hawks fan from Toronto, loving how much they're blowing it this playoffs. We can all say players we would like to have. Do you have a couple of unrestricted free agents or trade block players you would not touch with a 10-foot hockey stick this offseason?"
Tyler Bertuzzi.
I was gonna say Tyler Bertuzzi.
Didn't
Yeah,
want him last year. I don't want him this year. It's just something about that guy.
Yeah.
If his last name wasn't Bertuzzi, I don't think he'd probably get as many chances as he would. And maybe that's why I don't like him. It's the
could be.
PTSD from
It
that
could
last
be.
name.
It's probably
Yeah.
it's probably like circular in that way. Like,
But
well,
he's also
Bertuzzi, but
he's also a
Bertuzzi.
pudwack like his uncle.
Yeah.
And he's like.
His
and
dad.
this is coming from the.
Isn't his dad Todd?
I
Or no?
believe it's
No,
his
uncle.
Oh, it's his uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his dad.
And the fact that you've never seen Tyler Bertuzzi and Pete Dunne in the same place at the same time bothers me a little bit.
That is true.
But
It's like Nico Horner and Cody Rhodes.
yeah, well, there's no neck tattoo, so it's obviously not him.
He draws it on every time he has to wrestle.
So we had so Bertuzzi. This is coming from a guy that's like wants to see Max Domi back here.
Yeah.
And they're cut from the
Very
same
similar.
cloth.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. Tyler Bertuzzi is, to me, a very selfish hockey player, not in the good way. Like, I know we say a lot that we want a selfish player out there sometimes as far as the mentality to shoot first, but Bertuzzi is a guy that wants to go out there and make this stupid play that hurts his team. He does it so many times. Brad Marchand lives in his head rent-free and knows how to push his buttons and get him to make stupid plays, take dumb penalties. I mean, the guy was the only guy in the National Hockey League that refused to get the vaccine. I mean, that hurts
Well,
your
he's-
team. In the ultimate team
on.
sport.
Greg, he's doing his own research.
That's
Give him
fine.
some time. He's
Yeah,
working hard in
I'm
the lab.
sure he's researched.
He's got the beakers and the eyedroppers
I'm
out
sure he
there.
researched every single supplement and energy drink and what
Cody
a
Rhodes.
painkiller the trainers have given to him in his career. But the point is, like, whether you agree with it or not, you were the only guy in the league in the ultimate team sport to say, I'm going to sit out multiple games this year because I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. To me, that's
Right.
selfish. And he's just a dumb hockey player. I don't want anything to do with him. And I also am not touching Sam Reinhart with a 10-foot pole.
That's a good one.
Not because
of
he's
the money.
bad, because that's not a contract the Blackhawks need, and this season's been kind of like an outlier for him, and I don't want to give him a huge contract and then 3 years from now go, well, we have to say goodbye to this guy because
Yeah.
Sam Reinhart and his 19 goals is taking up $11 million.
Yeah, if I'm given 11, 12, 13 million dollars, it's going to be for a Draisaitl, Rantanen, proven year after year after year kind of a guy. My guy, I'm not touching with the 10-foot pole, and trust me, if it happens, I will turn myself around and convince myself it's a good idea. Anthony Mantha. I know he's had a good year, but he's always hurt. He's always, until now, been an underachiever. He's one of those guys that looks the part because he's huge and he's hulking, but is a passenger way too often. I'm not interested in Anthony Mantha. Now, on July 1st, when I sign him, I will convince myself it's a good move.
This is where, like, okay, so far, this is what worries me. So right now we're predicting July 1st, Tyler Bertuzzi and Anthony Mantha are being signed.
We'll just
by the
delete the
Blackhawks.
show if
Yeah.
that happens. I don't know what happened.
Just this portion of it.
Gremlin's got it.
Yeah, I'm on board with Bertuzzi. Mantha's one that's just like you could talk yourself into it if you had to, but I'd rather not have to. Another one, I know it's we're thinking like, hey, like can they bolster the goaltending position? I know Matt Murray's out there.
No.
Nope. They can do better than that, and that's a guy that's like you're taking a flyer to try and see if he's still got something. No, not worth it.
All right.
Let's do one more at least. We'll see how this goes here. This is from Scott Iowa 23 on the Twitter bird. What are your thoughts on NHL realignment, in particular moving to an 8-division, 4-team setup like the NFL? I believe there's some news about
This
that.
was done by Ian Mendez on The Athletic. So with the movement of Arizona to Utah, geographically, he set up basically 8 4-team divisions, and the scheduling would be you play each team in your division 3 times at home, 3 times on the road, and then every other team you play once at home, once on the road. And I don't remember all of them, but the division he had the Blackhawks in was Blackhawks, Wild, Blues, and Red Wings.
Right.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
He also said you would play one of your inter-conference divisions 4 times a year.
One. Yeah.
And it would rotate like they do in the NFL.
I love that. So
it makes too much sense, so it'll never happen.
Here are the alignments. Boston, New Jersey, and the 2 New York teams. Buffalo, Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So basically Canada. Columbus, Philly, Pittsburgh, Washington.
That's
Carolina, Florida, Nashville, Tampa. Chicago, Detroit,
NASCAR
Minnesota, St.
division.
Louis. Colorado, Dallas, Utah, Vegas. Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg. Anaheim, LA, San Jose, Seattle. I love that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's why it won't happen, because it just makes way too much sense.
Well, I mean, it eliminates the travel headaches. It eliminates a many number of late night starts for every team in the league, aside from the teams that play in the late night places. Like it will reduce travel. You're right. It makes too much sense for
and
it
it
to
makes
happen.
regular season games more important, because they said it would be, you could either do the top 4, the division winner makes it, so that's half your playoff roster, and then you either do top 2 from each division, or you then take the next best 4 in the entire conference based on points. Either way, it makes the regular season a little more important, and playing teams 6 times a year as opposed to 4 really gets those rivalries going. And we'll see. I mean, I think the other if that's not going to happen next year, that's probably in the next CBA. I think that's too short notice to make that big of a change.
Think so, yeah.
No.
Next year, I wouldn't be surprised. There's been talk of Utah and Colorado going to the Pacific, and Calgary and Edmonton coming into the Central. And we talked about that last week. That would kind of be a wash as far as the Hawks goes, where you get one team that kind of sort of is good every 4 years, and then a powerhouse team leaving, and one team that's kind of good every 4 or 5 years, and a powerhouse team coming in.
Think about it, though. First game of the year at the United Center, Oilers, Blackhawks, McDavid versus Draisaitl.
I love it. But yeah, it is probably too late. Remember when Frank Saravalli first had the Utah news, he said the league is working on 2 schedules, one with Phoenix, one with Utah. So that's already underway, the schedule building. So it can't happen this soon. But yeah, I really like the idea. The fear is, like you said, Greg, if you're just doing like top 2 per division, you're probably going to miss a team that deserves to make it. So I think that's going to be what they'll have to work out is, okay, how do we determine the rest of the playoff pool?
Right.
Because you're gonna lose some really good teams.
I'm fine with division winners and then the next best 4 based on points. So maybe you get 3 from one division and only the division winner from another.
Yeah, could.
Or that's where they
if you
introduce
do-
your play-in series and you expand
Yeah.
That's going to happen. As much as I don't like it, it's going to happen
money.
because it's money.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I
shorten
think-
the regular season if you need to.
That's not happening.
That's not
They're
going to
not
happen
giving
either.
up gates.
No.
Teams that suck aren't giving up 5 gates, so teams that
I don't
good
think
get
any
more.
league is going to shorten a season to add 2
Start it
or
earlier.
3
Start it
extra
in
playoff
August.
games. No. Yeah, I think if you
Shorten the offseason.
I think if you did the 8 division winners, and then best 4 of then each conference, I think that's as fair as you can go. I do like the idea of a 1 through 16 playoff though. Best 8 division winners and the next
love
best
that.
8.
That does
you're
become,
you're already taking teams from the East and West and smash them together. So what's the matter? You know?
Yeah. I mean, the problem with that is you have a first round matchup that's Vancouver, Florida.
Oh well.
But
so what?
would be a cup final too. So what's wrong with that?
The planet's already on fire. So what's the travel worry?
That's our
whatever.
That's
Who cares?
we're all gonna, as Logan Devin Cooley once said, we're all gonna die anyway.
Yeah, right. There is no future. Who cares?
All right, good mailbag. I know. We got one more.
Let's just do this one now
All
because
right.
I should have brought this up earlier when we were talking about
Put
the
it in
Ice
overtime,
Hawks.
that's fine.
Alex
This
sent
is
in.
Alec who says, "What is boarding, and what drives the officials to call the play dead, and what can players do to make the play called dead?" Obviously, this is referring to the Ice Hawks game this weekend. So I apologize for not putting this out there earlier.
So boarding is the extra. It's an extra force on a hit in a with a player in a vulnerable position into the board. So you can hit a guy open ice
Yeah.
hard.
Typically a player facing the board.
Yeah,
with his back to center
basically
ice.
it's if you're hitting a guy from behind.
In the numbers,
And that-
right? Isn't that sort
Yeah,
of
hitting from behind is one thing. Boarding is another, and that's when it's basically forcing from behind into the boards with an over aggression. I would say that would be the way I would explain it, not the technical.
Basically, just watch Matt
rulebook
Rempe
term.
hit Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
Sure, I'm sure Matt Rempe will or has
No, he already
made
did.
boarding
Yeah.
plays.
It was not
that
called
you
that.
can put on the
That's
textbook there.
I thought that was a clean hit if he had the puck.
He did
Puck
not.
was nowhere to be seen.
Details.
Trevor Van Riemsdyk. I saw the replay.
I don't know.
Well, we did hit our
Yeah.
quota. We did hit our I want Matt Rempe quota of at least one comment early in the show.
Yeah.
You don't
Fine,
want Matt
that's great.
Rempe.
I'm glad you're not a GM. That guy sucks. He's a
Don't.
plug. Absolute plug.
And then I don't know what you need to do to stop a play if a boarding call goes uncalled and then a fight is tried to start and that either of those stop the play. I don't know. Hit the ref in the gut with your stick.
Maybe if all other four guys jump the one guy, they have to blow it dead. Or
You'd think.
Refs are they're gun shy about stopping playoff play. I get
you know
but-
what should have happened?
Be a ref. Do your
Jackson
job.
Stauber should have turned around and just taken the net off
Yeah.
in the mornings.
That would have worked.
Yeah. There
Damn
you
it,
go.
Jackson.
Come on, Stauber, you're
Come
blowing
on,
it.
get your head in the game.
Jeez. Come on. All right, well, we appreciate everyone sticking with us. Like, still, a lot of viewers, not a lot of likes. Please hit that like button before we log off. We are going to be back tomorrow at 2:30, probably wrapping up what's left of the mailbag and getting into some other stuff.
Catch up on what's going on in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're a little bit in like this lull between Hawks season ending and like new news beginning. Once the draft lottery happens next week, and yes, we will be live, we're going to get into like, okay, who's going to be available at 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
1. We already know the answer.
1.
Doing some scouting, doing some prospect stuff. But right now we're kind of in that like, let's figure it out
Yeah.
until then sort of a thing. So
We got some dates
yeah,
from the Blackhawks. The draft lottery, May 7th. We already knew that. Scouting combine, no one really cares about that. Draft, June 28th and 29th. We already knew that. Development camp, off-ice development camp, June 30th through July 5th. So
Fireworks.
right after the draft.
day after.
So that'll be fun.
Isn't that what they did last year, too?
Yep.
Yeah, free agency July 1st. Rookie camp, the rookie showcase against the Blues. That'll be in St. Louis, September 11th through the 15th.
Check hotel rates. Let's
Blackhawks
go.
training camp begins September 18th.
Can't wait.
Can we get there
So
now, please?
mark your calendars. And we saw one playoff series end last night. Rangers swept Washington. Thanks for coming out, Capitals. Do we see another series end tonight? Florida is up 3-1 on Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
I think Tampa gets one more.
Okay.
All right.
Does
I
Dallas
predict-
win?
Yes.
Does Dallas win against Vegas? Sure. Let's I want to extend that
already sick
series
of
as long
Vegas.
as possible.
I'm already tired of Vegas.
Everybody is.
You've been in the league for like a month.
I've been
Go
tired
away.
of Vegas since 2018.
Yeah, F off already.
I'm done with them, but I hope Dallas wins, but we'll see.
I think my pick was Dallas to win the cup in our
Me too.
bracket.
Yes,
so
me too.
yes, I want Dallas to win.
At Edmonton, I'm looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look really good, and Florida looks really good.
Yep.
So we'll see.
But it always, round by round, you start at 0-0 again in the next round. Strange things have happened.
No doubt. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 2:30. Thanks for being with us. We love you. We'll talk to you then on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.